very familiar with the field. So, and I'm always excited to talk to uh, another pit master. So
Yes, sir.
I don't consider myself a pit master, even though I did competition barbecue for a few years, but I never done well. So I don't know what that's saying, but I liked it. I had a good time. The best part to me was getting the stick burner going and just setting up all night telling stories and throwing everything on there at different times to get them smoked up for showing. So.
Yeah.
But it's great to meet you. I'm an entrepreneur as well, small business owner, and so my hat's off to you. Getting anybody that's in the restaurant business, it is not easy. So making it go is totally hard work and dedication, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Well, if it's easy, everybody do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Alex, how about yourself?
A little bit about me. I'm mainly in the technology sector. Still love a good barbecue and love the conversation around it, especially since there's so many ways to do it. I work by day for Sony Music. By evening, I do my own audio production kind of stories and podcasts and things like that I'm starting to work on. And looking forward to this conversation this morning with Brew with the Crew.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott Hebert with Goosehead Insurance. I'm a different kind of insurance agent than Ashley. I do the personal lines, the home and auto. Retired Air Force, spent 20 years in the Air Force, but it wasn't really the Air Force. So I was working around with the Army all the time. So I was a forward air controller calling in airstrikes, and now I'm retired from the Air Force, but starting my third career now. I used to do IT, doing network admin, and then I cut ties about 2.5 years ago, started my own insurance agency. And it is true that small businesses, it does take a lot of work, and the grind is real. I'm looking forward to this podcast and joining you guys every week, and love to do some one-on-ones and just get to know people.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. And of course, I'm Josh Rosales, and I love to network and connect people. That's more than probably what I would say my real profession is, which is a banker here in Cool Springs. I'm actually Charlie's neighbor. Like, I get to smell that barbecue all the time. I'm like, it is amazing. But you know what else is crazy? Because, and we're just going to hop into this. It's crazy because I not only get to smell the great barbecue that comes from Charlie's house, but I also get to see firsthand Charlie pulling in at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And I'm getting up in the morning on a weekend and sometimes the trailer's gone. And then I'm just like, man, and then the time, the effort. And, I was on my way to work and I was listening to some Gary V, and, he was like, success success is not expensive. It just takes hard work, and it's, it's crazy because entrepreneurs that are on here, and we're going to dive into this barbecue thing, but it takes work. I mean, I think a lot of people, they see the end result. I mean, they see, whether it's where you live or what you drive or what you're able to do, the vacations that you're able to go on, and you're able to do A, B, and C, but they don't understand, and they didn't see the hard work, the many nights that you got home and your kids were sleeping and you really didn't see them that day, or then you had to wake up in the morning and you had to go to work and you didn't see them for like that next evening, or maybe not even until the weekend, or even, so it's like, people see the finished product, but they don't see what it takes to get to that finished product. And a lot of times, I think the reason why a lot of people are not successful is because they start on this journey of success and then they end up falling off or saying, you know what, this journey is too much, because it actually takes a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of sacrifice. You have to embrace the pain. You got to embrace the process in order to have that finished product called success. To be able to work for yourself, to be able to make as much money as you want, or to make no money. And a lot of times, I hear this saying, it's called success leaves clues. And it's not hard if you're really paying attention to duplicate what you see other successful people doing, and to see entrepreneurs that are starting out that really have a passion and a drive. And it's kind of why I ask people, is like, what is your why? You got to have a why to continue on this path and this journey, when there's good days, when there's bad days, when it's raining and you're just out there selling barbecue and there's not a lot of people coming out, or it's like you're making phone calls and sending emails and you're following up 7 to 14 times, and it's just, you're not getting anywhere and you feel like throwing in the towel. It's at those times you just got to keep going. That's the pain. That's the process that you got to endure. It's, my website looks like crap, and so who am I going to get to help me with my website? And you just got to keep going and keep going. And then finally, the more you network, the more you find people that are able to see the vision, see what you're doing and buying, and that's where you start making the connections. And networking is hard as well. I think a successful business is based on your network. And so let's dive into this. I love entrepreneurship. I love the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Ashley, myself, and Alex, we sit on the board of Breakthrough Nashville, which is a nonprofit based in Nashville. We're actually starting to expand into Rutherford County. But even with a nonprofit, it's blood, sweat, and tears. We started in 2017, and we're actually just in the last maybe 6 months to a year starting to gain real traction and momentum. Probably within the last 3 to 4 months, I would probably say that things have just started to happen, and we're super excited about it. But it's anything in life that if you keep in the beginning, it's going to be slow, but you got to keep going and not stopping. So with all that said, Charlie Eblin, it is so incredibly, I'm so incredibly excited to have you on, and Single Tree Barbecue. They can find you singletreebbq.com. And so Charlie, before you got into, before Single Tree Barbecue came about, and I really want to know like how it came about. Your logo is incredible. How the whole concept came about. Like, tell us a little bit about who is Charlie before Single Tree Barbecue.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, Josh. I appreciate it. I'm super excited. Always love talking to you for sure. And this is a great opportunity for us. So, Charlie is I was actually born in Atlanta, and lived there. Me and my mother and my younger 2 siblings, we moved around all over the place, from Phoenix, Arizona to Houston, Texas, back to Atlanta, back to, all over the place. And then I think it was 88 or 89, somewhere in that category. I moved to Murfreesboro, and moved in with my dad, and was here pretty much for the rest of my life. And I moved to Alabama for a little while with my wife, and we moved back about 5 years ago. But this is where I call home. My grandfather lived in Bell Buckle, and so I, this is where house is, right? This is where home is, and my mom's side of the family lives in Atlanta, but I pretty much grew up here through middle school and went to Central Middle School before it turned into the magnet school over there, and left there, went to Oakland High School, and then attended MTSU a little bit. So, I've always done cooking. That's kind of where we've been. We would eat out every once in a while, but most of the time it was it was cooking on the grill, or, you know, just kind of hanging out, having family over and friends. And, you know, growing up around my grandfather's farm in Bell Buckle, you know, you went out there and you worked all day. And when you got done working, that's when you could go do whatever you wanted to do, whether it was to go fishing or ride the horses or get on the motorcycle, dirt bike, and, you know, shoot guns, whatever you wanted to do, you had to get your work done first. Right. So, and the faster you got that work done, the faster you could go play. And that could be, you know, you'd be done with your work at noon. You could be done with your work at midnight. So just whenever you got done is when you got done. But at the end of it, we always sat on the back porch, and we always sat around a big open fire. There's a huge fireplace out back, double-sided open fireplace that we would always sit there and have a fire. And you know, when I was a kid, we'd have hot chocolate, and the older I got, that hot chocolate turned more into bourbon and cigars. But you know, we kind of, you know, just told war stories. And you know, my grandfather was in the military for 27 years, and he always had a good, you know, either fictitious war story or a good Indian cowboy story. And, you know, when you're out there in the middle of nowhere and you're, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old, and, you know, the only thing you can hear is the crickets and the wind chimes, you know, your grandfather telling you a good, you know, cowboy and Indian ghost story was always a good time. So,
So now you're a veteran as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I spent 5 years in the Army, 2 active, 3 in the reserves. I was stationed at Fort Stewart as a cavalry scout for the 37th Cavalry out of Fort Stewart.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So what? And Ashley, let me actually throw this to you. So growing up, you remember those same things?
Yeah, absolutely. It was my great grandfather owned a chain of grocery stores. It's how I got into doing what I did for my career. And he had a big farm that I actually ended up moving into and living on when my children were first born, you know, 20 something years ago. And but same thing, would listen to the stories, sit out there, and you know, it was the same thing. He grew a lot of he grew cantaloupes on this farm for his grocery stores. So when you went, you know what you were doing. You were working on the farm, just like you said. You had to work, and you know, sometimes you may not have a lot of time to sit around and do anything at night because you're just so tired, or that. And the biggest thing was putting up hay. You know, man, putting up hay. Hay in the barn. He had a huge barn, and he was big into show horses, and he raised and he bought and sold quarter horses all over the country, and they kept them up there. So I was either working in the fields, putting up hay, or mucking barns, you know, and then whatever's left, then we can do. But I'm the same way. I used to love to hear those stories, you know. There's always that's the best part. That's the best part of it. It's just sitting around talking and listening to the stories.
So Charlie,
horses, we had walking horses.
Okay. Well, he used to show those too. They back, you know, this is back in the 50s and 60s, but my father, when he was young, he used to, you know, show those horses, him and my uncle. And I've got like a trunk with the rhinestone jackets and things they used to wear when they would show those walking horses and those quarter horses. I've still got those, you know, that were my dad's. And I always thought that was fascinating.
So how, with everything on the change of events, how did everything lead you to say, you know what, I want to start a business, but I want to start a barbecue business? And then how did Single Tree Barbecue come into existence?
Yeah, so
I want that hat, by the way. I know you've got them on order, but
I'm working on it. working on my merch. It's supply chain. Blame blame the supply chain.
Held up at the Panama Canal, right?
Right. And it's still sitting out in the ocean somewhere. Yeah. So Josh, I've been in the restaurant business most of my life. I mean, outside of my short tenure in the Army, the rest of my life, I've been in the restaurant business. 27 years I've been working in and out of some sort of in capacity of a restaurant, from whether I was washing dishes to whether I was an executive vice president for a corporate chain. And my grandfather always wanted to have a restaurant. I've always thought about having my own restaurant. I've had people call and say, "Hey man, let's go start this, design the menu for me. Let's figure it out. What do you have in mind?" And for whatever reason, something's always held me back. It's not the easiest thing to wake up and get out of bed in the morning and go, okay, I'm gonna go do it on my own. And I'm not gonna have the safety net of a big corporation behind me. And somebody said something to me the other day about, man, you got to be living the dream. You cook barbecue for the living, and you're, oh man, that's awesome. And I'm like, yes, I am, and it is outstanding. But what those people don't see is the stress and the pressure. And you said it earlier about the blood, the sweat, and the tears. That's not that's not a synthetic thing. There's real blood and real tears and real sweat that get put into it every single day. And the lows are low and the highs are just amazingly high. And it's so incredible. And you don't figure that out until you actually get going. So to circle back, my grandfather is no longer with us, and he's always been somebody that I really, really looked up to, and considered, if I could be like someone, that would be between him and my father. Those two are just, they're at the pinnacle. And so my grandfather spent 27 years in the Army, retired as a colonel, full bird. When he got out, he was an attorney, stopped being an attorney, left that, got appointed a federal judgeship out of Chattanooga, became a federal judge up until the day that he died. And we always used to talk about him opening his own restaurant. And I always thought, man, that would be so cool, Pop George. Come on, man, you can do it. Let's go. And I'll come work for you. Well, he never got the opportunity and never pursued it. So when 2020 happened, and the world went up on its ear, and nobody knew which way was left, right, or up or down. I ended up losing my job with the corporation that I worked with, and my wife looked at me one day and said, "Well, what the heck you gonna do?" And I went, "I guess I'm gonna find me a job." And her next sentence was, "Well, why don't you start doing it on your own? You put all this trust and all this effort into everybody else, and you're always one of the top performers in every company you've been working for, and yet you don't have enough trust and faith in yourself to go do it." And it really struck home. I pride myself on how hard I work and the effort I put into trying to do the right things, and the abilities to listen to other people and take feedback and try to correct negative behaviors and how to grow things. And so I said, you know what, she's right. Let's take this step and see what we can do. And it only seemed right to name the company after what my grandfather started, which was Single Tree Farm in Bell Buckle, Tennessee. That's kind of where my love for food, family, community, and growth and everything about who I am started. It's something that he wanted to do. So why not kind of get going that direction? So I've had menus and stuff written for years about different ideas and stuff that I've had, and items that I would have on the menu and all that kind of fun stuff. And I've always loved to cook barbecue. So we simplified the menu a little bit and got the trailer. I up with my business partner, and he had some of my brisket, and the Brent's from Kansas City, so he's a barbecue aficionado, and he had some of my brisket and was sold. So we've been ripping and running ever since.
Man,
Hey, Ashley, look at
Yeah.
this one right here. Look at this. Look at this. You see this video right here?
I
I
see
know
it.
being a butcher, man, this some
It's
man. And then
one-
this right here, this looks good right here.
Yeah, one thing that
yeah.
that people may not understand is they go get good brisket. They're like, man, that's good brisket. It's not easy to make good brisket. You got to have it down pat. And somebody that's got brisket down pat, they know exactly to what kind of wood they're burning, exactly what temperature. Especially, I saw a stick burner there. So another thing, it's not easy to keep a stick burner at the temperature you want. You need to make perfect brisket all day long. It's not easy. It's work in itself, just feeding that thing, keeping it where you need it to be. You don't want it to ash up, because you don't want to bitter up your brisket or whatever you're cooking. So there's lots of things, and that's and I have a kinship for a stick burner like that. I mean, I love them. They're hard work, but they make the best barbecue in my opinion. So.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
You know, man, like I tell people all the time, I'll you know, my friends and family pick on me all the time because I'll give you whatever recipe you want. I don't,
Yeah.
I'll write down a recipe on how to cook brisket for you and tell you exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, if you feel the gumption and want to jump in there and try to make it happen, sure.
Yeah.
You know,
If you want to,
it's fine. You know.
yeah. If you want to man the burner all day and night, you go right ahead. But that's what it's going to take to get that brisket. Brisket.
Well, there's so much to, you know, barbecue. I tell people all the time, man, it's not an exact science, and there's not a, you know, if I wrote down my recipe for potato salad exactly and gave it to you, and it had step by step on how to make it all the way through, you're going to be able to make it, and it's going to taste almost identical to mine, right? I mean, it's not going to be different, but if I write down my steps on how to cook a brisket, it may or may not be anywhere close. And you know, there's how you trim the brisket will determine how it comes out of the smoker just as much as how it goes in. What seasoning you use, how long do you season it, or how long is it seasoned before you put it on a smoker? What temperature is the brisket before you put it on the smoker? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it room temp? Is it, you know, so there's so much that goes into it, where it's placed on the smoker, how it's placed on the smoker, you know, how long it's on the smoker before you spritz, if you spritz, you know, I mean, there's just so much, you know. Look, I use a thermometer cooking brisket once. And you know, that's really the only time I use a thermometer. And that's when I'm pulling it off, just to make sure it's fully cooked. But I know it's cooked because you can tell by touching it and the way it feels. It's not barbecue is just way more of, you know, feel and touch and visual cues than it is black and white anything. And you know, it's tough. It's tough, but it's so much fun.
So, you know, amateurs like myself, we like really amateurs like myself. So we got our grill and we got our smoker in the back. And I remember the smoker from talking with Ashley, and a while back, it's like, okay, a smoker is not like a grill, or you just like, oh, let me grill some burgers, or let me grill, some, I think it was even, what was it? I was gonna smoke, or I was gonna grill
You were trying to grill spare ribs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spare rib. I put them on the grill. I was just like, man, you should have put them in the smoker, because like the smoker, it breaks down the fat and the muscle, and you gotta let it. I remember Francis, my wife was like, oh, let's throw it in. Let's throw this meat in the smoker for like an hour and a half, and it'll be done. I was like, no, the smoker is not like an oven. Like the smoker, we're gonna have to put that on there for like 6 hours, 8 hours. Sometimes, depending. And even with Thanksgiving, this last Thanksgiving, we smoked 2 turkeys, and they turned out. I mean, it was incredible. We stayed up all day before smoking one, and we stayed up all night. And then the next morning, it had it smoking out there, and it's just something about barbecuing and smoking meat that you just don't get by just regular cooking, or just doing it regular. And it's just like the barbecue, the taste, the flavors all come out. And I know you got to wrap it in aluminum foil, but it's cool to have friends like Charlie and Ashley that I'd be like, hey, so what do I do? Trying to do this on my own. But then, it's like, oh, and by the way, along with Single Tree Barbecue, they got some of the best banana pudding, homemade banana pudding, and mac and cheese, and potato salad, and redneck taco, which is my favorite, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Oh, Alex, what do you think?
I will break some keto for some good banana pudding. I'll tell you that.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I am that banana pudding is it for me. You just lost me. I mean, I was just in all the way. Then I'm gonna drive there to get banana pudding.
Top of the line, right? I guess I got for you, Charlie. When it comes to that, speaking of process, because Josh was talking about the cooking in it for an hour and a half, smoking it for an hour and a half versus 6 to 8 hours. Do you find in your industry a place for meat aging in the barbecue business? So offering someone something that is more aged in the process that you see people making specialty meats, your salamis and all that kind of stuff, or is it just I procure the meat from the place, I pick it up, and it is what it is? Is there anything special that you do on that end of the process?
No, I mean, for the most part, aging, most of the meats that you age to begin with are either going to be ready to eat, or you're cook hot and fast, because the aging process is what tenderizes it. Mm-hmm. The whole art of smoking is really not smoking meat. It's really just cooking it at a low temperature. Where the smoke comes from is building a fire. So you're really cooking with live fire. If you're doing it right, you shouldn't see a ton of smoke coming out of the smokestack smoker. You ever drive by that, go down the road, you see those guys with those huge smokers on the side of the road, and it's just billowing smoke everywhere.
Yes.
More than the smoker itself is actually on fire. And it's not gonna taste very good. Find the guys that, if they got smoke coming out, it's just a little bit. They call that the difference between clean and dirty smoke. And dirty smoke creates that, I think Ashley said it earlier, it creates that kind of bitterness flavor, where you really take wood, not the fire. And then with a clean smoke, you're really just cooking with a fire. And I love cooking with a fire. Now you take a real good dry aged steak and you put it on a live fire. It's man, you can't beat it. I cooked some just regular old choice ribeyes for the family last week over on my fire pit. And, my whole family said it was the best steaks they've ever had. So, and they were just regular old choice Sam's you know, ribeyes, nothing spectacular. You know, I mean, they have good meat, not picking on Sam's, but it wasn't like we went out and bought Wagyu ribeyes and,
Yeah.
you know, had some special rub. I mean, it was just salt, pepper, and put it on an open fire. You know, it's, you know, when you cook, you know, when you get your propane grill out, you know, and most of America, and 99% of my buddies, they get that propane grill out and you know, they put their aprons on and they sit outside with their beer and you know, they're the grill master for the day. And, you know, which is wonderful. And I'm happy for everybody that does that.
That's
right?
me.
Hey, I'm proud of you, buddy. Proud of you. You know, you really want to have an experience from a flavor standpoint and taste and all that kind of fun stuff. Build a fire and cook over that fire. And it's just something. I mean, it just does something to you that you just don't get off of the propane grill. I mean, look, I'm not talking smack. I got a propane grill too, and I do it for a living. So, you know, I mean, look, I get it, right? It's speed and convenience and all that kind of fun stuff. And in today's age, everything's about now, not about, you know, let's get it in an hour, right? So, because you can't just start a fire and go. It's got to burn down and all kinds of fun stuff.
So for us amateurs, like when we go to Sam's Club or Kroger or Publix, like what's a good meat to like grill, like just to start off?
Well, from a grilling standpoint, you know, I mean, it really just depends on what you want, what you like, what your flavor, what your preferences are, right? You know, I mean, in my household, there's probably, you know, we got 5 people in my household, and there's probably 4 different styles of what people would have on their final meal. And you know, I really like a really good strip steak. You know, you get a good New York strip or a pinchata, or, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can, you know, get. Fillets are amazing. It's really kind of hard to screw up a fillet. You know, it doesn't matter what grade you got. You know, I mean, if you got just a regular choice fillet and you cook it to a nice medium rare, medium, it's going to be as tender as you can be, no matter what you do to it. You can't. Now you go out there and you cook it well done, it's going to be tough. It's well done.
Yeah. No,
you
that's good.
Ribeyes are probably the easiest of all, from a standpoint of they're a little bit thicker most of the time. You know, they're typically about an inch thick, just the standard butcher cut. And they got so much fat and marbling in them. Excuse me. So much fat and marbling in them that it's really kind of hard to mess it up. You know, it's going to be tender. It's going to have flavor. You know, the biggest mistakes I see people do, and people inside my own family do, is they go get whatever steaks they want, and then they come home and they dump a whole bunch of Worcestershire in there and let it marinate for a couple of hours, and then go throw it on a hot grill. And they don't understand why it's so salty, and they don't understand why it's so charred. And there's enough sugar content in Worcestershire and enough salt that if you let it marinate for any kind of time period, it's just going to be overpowering, and all you're going to taste is the Worcestershire. And you know, look, I have plenty of people that I've heard and talked to that do it, and I tell all of them, just stop. just take the Worcestershire out, you know, coat that thing with salt and pepper, you know, sit on the counter for about 30 minutes before you're going to go put it on your grill. Let it get to room temperature with that salt and that pepper. You know, if you want to throw a little garlic pepper on or garlic salt, you can. I always do that afterwards with a little garlic butter, and then rock and roll from there. So, you know, I mean, grilling is not as hard as most people try to make it. It's you know,
People probably overthink the process.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, man, I'm not that smart either, you know, so you know, I have to keep things very simple. And so I do that for the simple fact of, you know, I want my food to taste like the food that it's supposed to be. and not taste like something that it not, I'm not trying to make a brisket like pork. I want my brisket to taste like my brisket. I want my pork to taste like my pork. So that's why all the ingredients are simple, and keep things simple, and just focus on the technique of things. The food's
Exactly.
better, and so it's the same thing with grilling as it is, being a low and slow barbecue guy.
Hey, Charlie, let me ask you this. I'm gonna transition a little bit because I really want to know so your wife and is so supportive of what you do and is so involved in what you do. I feel like it is so important to make sure, like, you can have a business and your spouse not be on board. And it's like, it's a lot easier. I think and having a business is not easy, but it's a lot easier, the support factor, when your spouse and your family are on board 100%. Talk to us a little bit about how that plays into having such great support from your family, and particularly your wife, and what she brings to the business. And then what are some of the challenges that you have come through with starting Single Tree Barbecue, and kind of maybe some of the growing pains that you're going through now? And talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, number one, if it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, she's my rock, man. She's my whole world. She's the one that gave me the giant shove to jump off the ledge of starting my own business. That, for me, was like standing on top of the Empire State Building and knowing that I couldn't fly. Without her, I wouldn't have ever even thought about it. Without her support and starting all of this, I mean, just the emotional side of it, I don't think I'd have been able to handle my wife. I mean, look, I went from traveling 4 or 5 days a week all over the Southeast and country, for that matter, to being home 7 days a week and being with her and those little rugrats that I have here most days. So
They're good baseball players, though.
They are. They're basically all through and through. That's how I spend my days off. But I mean, look, she's amazing. And that banana pudding you talked about earlier, we wouldn't have that without her either. She's the dessert queen, man. There's that
Oreo cookie, banana pudding.
Oreo pudding, and hey, look, I'll be honest, I didn't know how to
sweat
pudding until 2 days ago. It was I finally had to ask, and I need to learn so I can do it myself and don't have to ask her to do it all the time. And she's got enough on her plate. She runs her own business,
that's true.
With the pink room, and she's, I mean, she doesn't stop. And I don't know. I think I work hard, but my wife is amazing, man. She just rolls every day. I mean, I think she's normally up between 4:30 and 5 in the morning, and she won't.
The kids, the household, the running around, her business, your business. Like, I understand.
And she worked on a truck with me last night. So it's we sponsor a couple of the softball teams here in town. So she came and hung out with us there. So
what are some of the growing pains that you've experienced?
The growing pains are funny, man. You do something for so long, and then you change one variable, right? I've been in the restaurant business forever, and instead of it being a restaurant that is located in one spot, now I got one that's on wheels, and I can take it wherever I want to. So the very first growing pain was simple. I designed and wrote a menu that was based off of a brick and mortar restaurant. That's wonderful. but it doesn't work in a 7,500 square foot trailer. It just doesn't. The things, they move differently. The flow is different. There's just not as much space. So you have to get creative on how you store things and where you put things and how you prep and get ready. So, that was the first hurdle. I thought I was going to have this, amazing menu with, quarter chickens and 9, 10, 15 different items on my menu every day of the week. And okay, great. The second, it's just not possible. Right. So, and then the last one I didn't learn, or the last hurdle that we've been overcoming and challenge that we faced was, how do you do this? How do you do what I do every day by myself? And because I've always prided myself on how hard I work, I thought, hey man, I can have this trailer out, 5-6 days a week and still be able to get it all done. That's not the case. It's, my partner's got a full-time job. He helps us and does all the books and the IT stuff and the back on the backside of stuff, with the marketing side and the prep side of the food and scheduling of events. And, there's a lot to do. So, we came to a realization, especially over this winter time, that even though the winter was slower because we're a food truck, nobody wants to stand in line when it's snowing. There's still so much to do and you can't do it all yourself. It's just a physical impossibility to think that I can wake up every day and have the trailer out the 5 days a week at minimum, 6 days a week to make the money we need to make and think we're going to be successful and awake, being able to have the energy to keep going. It's just, you just can't do it. You can't work 5-6 days, in a row, 14, 15-hour days and think that you're physically going to be able to keep up. Not only does your body give out, but your mind will give out too, because you don't have time to decompress. So we've hired a couple of people. That was a challenge all in itself. I think I've been looking to hire people now for 6 months and I only needed to hire 2. And it took me up until last week to get those 2 hired. So, but now that we have them hired, they'll be starting with us next month, going through some training and getting ready, getting things to go, which will kind of help me grow the business versus work the business. And I think that's where a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs go wrong sometimes. Is, I know we have gone wrong there for sure, is we get tied up in working the business versus actually trying to grow the business. And, one of the, I started this whole thing with my grandfather or my grandfather's name. But one of the things that, we had as a kid was community and, you could sit on the back porch and it didn't matter who you were, you could all come back and hang out with us and talk and chit chat and all that kind of fun stuff. And so now the current challenge is full circle of, okay, now how do we grow it? And, but not just Single Tree Barbecue, the food truck, but how do we grow Single Tree Barbecue, the community? How can we do more in the community? How can we give back to the community? Where can we make an impact? One of the things that I've said in every position and every job that I've ever had in my life was very simple of, we are business owners and leaders and we have the ability to impact people's lives every day. How we do that is what's important. And, for the last, year, my impact hasn't been what I want it to be. I used to do tons of stuff with Toys for Tots and, just local nonprofits and charities in town. And so, Single Tree Barbecue is now that we have some employees and I can focus on growing our brand. That's going to be my challenge is how can I get Single Tree to be a major player in Rutherford County and helping others and building a community.
So what keeps you going every day? Like, how do you, as a small business owner, or who do you surround yourself with? How do you self-develop and keep pouring into yourself to become better at your skill, to maybe continue to think forward? Like, where is Single Tree Barbecue going to be in the next 5 years? Like, how do you keep that motivation to be like, it's not just the here and the now, but whether it's YouTube videos, podcasts, I mean, whatever you do, hanging around people, mentorship is really huge. What does Charlie Eblin do to keep you motivated, forward thinking, to saying, okay, this is what I'm doing now, but when I operate, I'm not operating in the moment. I'm operating where I want Single Tree Barbecue to be, like in 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, so that's a good question, Josh. Where we're at now is not even close to where we want to be. But the great thing is man, I don't have a goal or an aspirations of having this company be, 50, 75 or 100 restaurants. That's not my goal. My goal is the end game is to have a legacy for my kids. That's the end game. I want my kids to be able to have something that when I'm in my happy hunting ground or my happy pit, whatever it is, that they can be proud of. Hey, this is something my dad, my mom built, and we can have pride in knowing that they put in their blood, sweat, and tears in this. So, to be forward thinking, it's tough sometimes, man. No one ever wakes up in the morning every day, 365 days a year, and is motivated every day. They're just not. Those people aren't there. And I used to think that, why can't I be the guy that gets up every single day that's just super excited, ready to go every day? It's because those people don't exist. Human beings aren't we all wake up on the wrong side of the bed sometimes, right? We all oversleep. We all, oh man, I didn't get to work out this morning, or whatever it may be. So, but it's what you do on the days that you're not super motivated, right? Do you still get up and do you still go work? Do you still go put in the effort of, man, I don't really want to do this, but I got to, and still get it done, not with a lower standard, but still do it to the same high standard that you have. So from a motivation standpoint, I'm not motivated every day, Josh. I'm the thing that will never change is, I wake up every day and I see my wife and kids. And
that's your why.
And that is 100% my why. I say it is my job, and I'm not trying to sound sexist or whatever at this point, but it's my job to provide for my family, and whether that's financial or emotional or whatever, that's my job. My job is to make sure that my family is taken care of, and that's why I get up every day and do what I do. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you, the last year's been tough. It's hard, to wake up every day and go, okay, well, if I don't have the trailer out today, I'm not making any money. And if I'm not making any money, how's the light bill going to get paid? It's hard. And, like Ashley said earlier, throwing around hickory wood all day is not easy. You know, and I tell people all the time, you want to learn how to smoke barbecue. Well, just stand outside in August for about 12 hours and tell me you still want barbecue, right? Because that's right. Or in January when it's 20 and snowing. I got a picture somewhere where my smoker's completely covered in snow, and I'm out there smoking ribs or something for the day. I mean, you know, it is what it is. It's a part of it. You know, but I do my best to surround myself with people that are motivating. You know, I try to watch, you know, inspirational videos, and, you know, what's his name? David Scoggins. It's just, I mean, that guy, he's a bubbler too off a plum, man. And I love it. You know, I absolutely love it because, and I think he even says, you know, it's the crazy ones that are obsessed and where people think that they just are off their marbles to do what they do that are going to continue to be successful. You know, and I've always thought that the people you surround yourself with are the ones that you're going to be like. So, you know, if you surround yourself with a whole bunch of, you know, non-thinkers and people that want to grow and do better, and then that's what you're going to do. Those people aren't on the internet trying to,
They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, you know, they're not trying to learn how to get better. You know, man, look, I'll tell you, man, I've been cooking briskets for a very long time, and I read something on how to cook brisket at least once a day. At least. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that think that I don't need to learn anything else about cooking brisket, that I got it. But I'm still trying to get better, right? I'm still trying to learn different techniques and different ways of doing it. And, you know, because of that, because of doing that, my brisket this winter has been better than it was last year at this time. You know, because I learned a different technique and I tried it and it came out amazing. You know, so, you know, doing those things and keeping those, you know, people around you and, you know, just trying to really stay forward thinking of what's the next big thing. You know, it's tough, but, you know, I mean, look, I'm 40 something years old and I'm trying to learn how to operate TikTok, man. You know, yeah. I mean,
hey, you're doing a good job though, man.
Right here too, man. We're in the same boat on that.
Hey, Charlie, so let me ask you, so you have, you've received some awards regarding your barbecue and how good it is. What are some of the rewards? And it's almost say we're wrapping it up, but what are some of the awards that you have won? Where can people find you? I got your Facebook page, or I got your website pulled up, singletreebbq.com. Also, we got your Facebook page, which is Single Tree Barbecue. That is an amazing looking picture right there. Plus, we got your Instagram page right here with Single Tree. What are some of the recent awards that you won, and what was it for your brisket? Was it for what was it for? And then where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah. So, you know, award wise, the most recent thing I was nominated for, what was it? The restaurant news.
Yep. I voted for you.
They awarded me one of the top, I don't remember what number it was, but one of the top restaurant executives in the country, is the most recent one. And I'm actually going to the restaurant leadership conference here in a couple of weeks. So, you know, so it's that one was pretty cool. You know, and there's been, I think, 2 or 3 different articles recently written about us, and the brand here at Single Tree. With one was with the Daily News Journal, and another one was with Voyager, And then I have another lady that's been reaching out to me for another publication here recently. So, all that stuff's really cool. You can find us, on any social platform. I haven't really gotten into YouTube yet. That's coming. But we are going to start doing a live show on Monday nights in April. Excuse me. We're going to do that on Instagram Live. I think, probably like 5 or 6 o'clock, give people time to get home from work. That's going to be really cool. Something you don't want to miss, because we will have one show where it's just me, and talking about what we're doing or how to cook something. And then we'll have a couple of shows with some guests. And then probably just one Q&A show every month. So that's coming. Really cool stuff. You can find us on Facebook, like you said, Instagram, TikTok. All 3 of those are at Single Tree BBQ. The website's, www.singletreebbq.com. And then YouTube as well is at Single Tree BBQ. So
where are you going to be this weekend? That's my question.
So exciting things for us, Josh. Starting Thursday, we will be doing delivery with Hometown Delivery. So I'm not taking the trailer out this week, but you will be able to get delivery. Before I went live doing deliveries at events, I wanted to be able to have just that to focus on, make sure we execute properly.
Okay, my question is, will they Hometown Delivery, will they deliver to your next door neighbor?
Josh, just call me. I got you.
Well, I know that I'm absolutely starved to death right now looking at those pictures. So I'm glad you actually took it off that screen, because I'm in trouble over here. But hey, let me ask you one question that you will get this. And I don't, and I think it's funny, but are you a right side or left side brisket?
Yeah, I don't know if I have an opinion, Ashley.
I don't either.
There's guys out there that have very strong opinions, but I don't know if I really care.
Only barbecue folks will get that joke, and I think there's nothing to that myself, but because the cow, I've been around cattle for most of my life, and they lay on either side, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, yeah. I've never seen anything that held up that argument either, but no. It's like, do you cook your brisket fat side up or down too, right? So I mean, as long as you cook it right, that's all that matters.
Yeah. That's always I'm gonna just say something here real quick. My takeaway from this: it was fabulous meeting you and hearing your story, and I just can't stress enough to people that the conversation we just had is obvious. Naming after his grandfather, that barbecue, good food in general, comes from a place of love. It really does. And the story behind that, right? And then he's putting into it. It's just like you were saying, build a fire, cook something, take the time, because it's a process, right? And you can obviously see that. You can hear it in the story. You can see it in the food. And barbecue, when it's good, I mean, it's when it's done right, it's a process, and just know that what it took to get it to that point, and that really is what makes it special. So I'm excited to get out that way and try it. I haven't tried it. Now let me ask you, do you bring your truck to places with people ask you, say, hey, we need a vendor out here, can you come? Do you do that?
Yep. We do all types of events. Anything from, last night we were at the Blackman High School softball game. We sponsor them as one of their teams. And then April 2nd, we're doing the Banana Pudding Festival here in Murfreesboro.
Oh man.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm coming to that.
You got that.
Wait.
It's
You're killing us.
gonna be a lot of fun, man. And then the 1st of May, we're doing the barbecue festival. So, I got asked last week to do the IndyCar race that's in September. So, all kinds of stuff that we do. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, that's
Hey, the other
because
thing
I network with a lot of folks, and I see this a lot. People needing vendors, right? Come out to this event. So I'll connect with you, and when those opportunities arise, I'll make sure I pass them your way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is this is a great opportunity to meet new people, to network. I know, Ashley, you are when it comes to life insurance and taking care of family, you're the man. Scott, you're in the insurance industry as well. What is it specifically on the industry that you're in, Scott?
Mainly right home and auto.
Home and auto.
Personal
Okay.
lines, yeah.
Okay.
Boats, RVs, motorcycles, stuff like that. But I don't venture into the life or health. I leave that up to professionals like Ashley.
That's it. That's it.
No,
That's it.
no.
Well,
Hey, Charlie, I do have one question real quick before we
Yeah.
go. Hey, the age-old question. Brisket, fat side up or fat side down? Which way do you cook yours?
So it's funny. It really depends on, there's a lot of things that go into it. So give you the quick synopsis. One, depending on what kind of smoker it is. So if you're in a stick burner, I always do fat side up. If I'm cooking it on a smoker like I have on my truck, which is a Beck built, and it's a stack smoker, so the heat source is coming from the bottom, then I start it with the fat side with a fat cap down. But once it gets to probably about 130-ish, 140, about halfway through the cook, I'll flip it back over. And what that does is it doesn't burn up the meat on the bottom, and it allows it a little bit more evenly of a cook. And then I wrap it up, and it allows all the fat from the fat cap to come back through and rehydrate the meat, which makes it really, really tender and breaks down all the collagen in it, and perfect. So the other factor is what time of year and what temperature. So if it's in the winter and it's cold and there's no humidity, then I have to put more water, more moisture into the smoker, which is a water pan. And I'll have multiple water pans. If it's in the summer, I may not even need a water pan because we live in Tennessee, and the humidity is pretty high, so it gets plenty of moisture in it already. There's it's so short answer, both.
Gotcha.
Long answer.
And,
Gotcha.
and depending on how windy it is too, that's a big, that wind can play, that wind. People don't realize that the wind can mess you up on a stick burner.
Yes, it can.
Well, y'all,
Yeah,
thank you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'm visiting some clients down in Murfreesboro on Thursday. I'm going to come see you.
Give me a call.
All right, we'll do. It was
Definitely.
good talking with you.
Well, I'm
As well.
so excited that we had this time to talk with our special guest, the man, the pitmaster, Charlie Eblin, with Single Tree Barbecue. Thank you so much for joining us on Brew with the Crew this morning, Charlie. And I'd love to get you on again down the road, and to continue to see Single Tree Barbecue just explode with the Facebook comments, and with the Instagram, and just everyone is continuing to find out about this amazing tongue slapping barbecue called Single Tree. I just want to thank you for coming on. Alex, Ashley, Scott, really quick as we wrap up. I want to say thank you, Charlie, and then we could give a closing thought and we'll wrap it up. We're out of here.
Yeah,
Ashley.
yeah, thank you. Like I said, I loved your story. I enjoyed it. This has been one of my favorite podcasts we've done so far. So it was a pleasure to meet you. And I'm gonna get your contact from Josh, because I definitely want to connect with you after this and see how we can work together. I think that I love building those relationships, especially with entrepreneurs and small business owners. And I want to talk to you about your past restaurant experience. So it's I love those stories. So man, I wish you the best of luck. I'm gonna come out and see you as well. So
Thank you.
Same thing. Very excited to see what you have to offer out there. Love that you're chasing the American dream, and we will definitely be out to see you, and can't wait to try your barbecue.
Love it. Thank you, Alex.
You got it.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, love the story, the heritage of it all, and bringing it to light. And that picture on your Facebook shows it all with that background and then the trailer in the front. Love your passion. Sounds like you've got everything going for you. I'm looking forward to seeing your success, and hopefully we can help you along the way a little bit. Looking forward to meeting you Thursday.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, from all of us to all of you out there, we're going to, whether you're listening to the podcast, whether you're watching this on Facebook, we want to say that you definitely got to check out Single Tree Barbecue on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube's coming out. Come out, visit. I'm telling you, the trip to Murfreesboro to come eat some barbecue is amazing. And the banana pudding, oh man, the mac and cheese, the potato salad, like I'm just go on and on and on. My wife's like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna eat barbecue? And it's Single Tree Barbecue, and especially having pair it with some beer, with a cigar, with just barbecue goes with everything, like everything.
I've got everything running through my head right now, man. What we're gonna do? Scott and I are gonna get together, put on an event, invite a bunch of people, and have Charlie come out and do it.
Dude, I'm gonna wrap up with this. So New Year's Eve, Charlie smoked a pig, and woke up. He was out there like 7 a.m. and then that pig, we started eating at like maybe 9-10 o'clock at night. Like it was just so good. It was cool because the process was there. Like I walk out the front door, had to go to work that morning, but you see the pig in the beginning, and you come home and you just saw cooked it right out there. It was a really cool. And actually Single Tree Barbecue has brought not only just as community, but it brings our subdivision together, and the outpouring of support that our subdivision has for Charlie and Sarah and Single Tree Barbecue is amazing, because we've got families that they're walking across the lawn and walking to grab barbecue, and we got kids that are running around. I mean, I'm just like, man, it'd be like a country music video shot right there. It was just some great stuff. When I think about Single Tree Barbecue, I think about community. I don't think about a big corporation. It's all about community. And Charlie, you're doing things right. You're building it from the right side up. And thank you so much for coming on this morning and spending time with us. I really appreciate everything that you've done. And I'm probably in the group of your biggest fans, and I just love it. So thank you for spending time.
Hey, look, guys, I appreciate you having me on. Josh, I think the whole hog thing is going to have to come to fruition sooner than later. Again, I was thinking about the 4th of July. Last year we had a great time for the 4th. So, maybe this year we do the same thing with, cook a whole hog, and we got to thank our other neighbor, Justin, for, he's got the same size smoker I do. So he rolled his out, and since his is on wheels, mine's not. So, it was a blast doing it. I love doing it. And, you know, I just appreciate you guys letting me come on and tell my story and hopefully get a couple more people to join us in building this community and, you know, maybe something we said inspired somebody or helped somebody today.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna throw you an offer too. If you need anybody to trim briskets when you get busy, and if I got free time, I'll be there in a second to help you out. Hey, love to.
I'll take the help.
Prep